Hi, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday Strategic Planning Week presentation and celebration. There are a number of folks who are logging on right now. We've had a fantastic, fun, and exciting week so far. We've had upwards of 140, 150 folks who have been logging on each day to learn more about the vision of the college, exciting updates in a variety of areas, and of course, recognizing some of our outstanding SCC planners. And are you able to see my PowerPoint? It looks like it disappeared here.
I did, and now it's black, and now we're on Microsoft Forms.
So sorry about that. Let me try again here. Let's share.
Well, you are unique, Shauna. No one who's watching today has ever had a problem with me while they were, so they can't relate at all, I'm sure.
How about now? How are we looking now? Good?
Yeah, it's not in presentation form. It shows the slides on the side, but
okay,
we're good. If they squint, they can see what's coming up. There you go.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, friends. Thanks for your patience here. Let's see. Oh, something weird is going on.
I blame Brett.
Let's see here. Let me try one more time. Every time I've done the same thing for 3 days in a row. Every time I start the share, it let's see here. Thanks for bearing with us. What are you seeing now? We did practice this before that, by the way. Can you see everything now? Okay.
It says Strategic Planning Week, but once again, it's not in presentation mode.
Okay.
Slides on the side.
Okay. All right, we're going to make do with that. All right, friends, thanks again for joining us. We've got a full day, an exciting presentation ahead, all focused on our vision statement, transforming and empowering our diverse learners. The special guests for today are Dr. Joel Michaelis, our Vice President for Instruction, and Brett Bright, our brand new Vice President for Program Development. They are going to share with us from one of the excerpts of the vision statement. The college will work collaboratively and courageously with its higher education partners, employers, and local and state officials to address Nebraska's skilled worker shortage and the need for everyone to have affordable access to the life-changing benefits of higher education. Please welcome Dr. Michaelis and Brett. We'll turn things over to you. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon. I am absolutely thrilled to be here. I actually was excited about doing this with Brett specifically when Shauna asked, and I think this is a wonderful thing that Shauna does. Last year, I don't know how long you've been doing, Shauna, with the Strategic Planning Week, but I think it's a great idea because it gives everybody an opportunity to really understand and see how invested other parts of the college, not just the part that they fit in, because we all play a part, right? And we all are a part of a piece of this machine, but to see where the strategic plan fits in for everybody and how they might fit in areas where they're not even aware. And I'm also going to say this. I've said this to other people, but SCC, I've been at a number of colleges. Southeast Community College lives its strategic plan more than any college I've ever been a part of. And I think that is a testament to the vision of Dr. Illich and quite frankly, the abilities of Ms. Herwick here. I mean, it really is something that is stressed and we talk about. And so it's important that we look at these things and we talk about it. and we base everything in what we're doing on the strategic plan. With that said, one of the things that Shauna and I talked about was the idea. What we're going to talk about today is basically the credentials that we added in the last academic year. And some of those kind of got a start before I even got here last July. Some of those are very specifically because I got here last July, and have gone through a process. And I'm going to talk about those a little bit. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about program development, things that we're planning on doing in the future. And Shauna had even said, and what are we looking at for 21, 22? And I think I said, actually, it's more like 21 through whatever, because we really are looking years out in advance. And then, of course, Brett is going to, as our Vice President of Program Development, it's just been, the guy's been here a whole 6 weeks. But man, he jumped right in and started talking about how he could help us with this process and all of that. Brett's going to talk to you a little bit about the things that we're doing in that regard with respect to process to kind of make it a little bit easier for all of us, and so we kind of don't lose our way with getting down and into the details, while we're focusing on these larger issues of helping out our workforce. And then of course I'm also going to talk to you about how our partnerships, which is a very integral part of our strategic plan, about how our partnerships helped develop and drive all of this. So to start with, let me talk to you about the credentials that we've added. Now, one of the things that you're going to notice, and one of the things that I did is, we talk a lot about new programs. Some of these are new programs. All of them are credentials, but some of them are credentials that are part of an existing program. And so I like to look at it in terms of credentials, because in a lot of ways, a new credential can be just as important as a new program. And let me explain that for a second. If I am a student who, let's say I'm a non-traditional student who cannot commit full-time to a 2-year program right now. But let's say we have a program out there such as, let's say it was auto tech. Okay. Let's say that pretty much all you could do is get a diploma or an associate degree or whatever. If I know as a student that I can't commit that amount of time to going, then that program basically doesn't exist to me. But if we create a 1-semester credential that allows that student the opportunity to kind of get in, get their feet wet, go in for a semester, learn, get that certificate, go out and get a job, that might as well be a new program to that student in terms of the opportunity it gives them and the opportunity to change their lives and all of that. And then not only that, but what's important about that is that we kind of got them in, right? We kind of hooked them. And now they know what they can do. And now our wonderful program directors and all of that can look at those folks and say, now, I know you have to get out right now and everything, but if you come back and you finish the associate degree, it's going to allow you to go out and get this job over here that makes this amount of money, which is more than what you're going to make with this certificate. So anyway, I feel very strongly about these. We call these things stackable credentials. And the reason they're stackable is that if you take that certificate and you complete that actually, the classes you took in there stack on top. You can take other classes that stack on top of that will get you a diploma. And then you take other classes on top of that you stack on top of that, and that will get you an associate degree. So we call those stackable credentials. And when I got here last year, I spoke to Dr. Illich about this. He was very much on board with that. We already had some of this, but not to the degree to which I thought we really could for our community and for the folks that are, quite frankly, hiring our workers. So we kind of I spoke with the deans and we came up with things. And as you can see here, there's a whole lot that's been done just in the last year, a COVID year, I might add. And a lot of those are stackable credentials. Some of them are not. Like we already, an example of one that would be like the HVAC and refrigeration technology diploma. We already had the Associate of Applied Science degree. We created the diploma. The construction processes certificate, that's stackable. That's part of what we already include in going up to the associate degree. But things like occupational therapy assistant, that is one of those things that started before I ever even got here, and it was going through the process of being approved and everything. So I'm not going to read all of those to you, but as you can see, we've been busy, and we continue to be busy. And if you don't mind, Shannon, let's go to the next slide. And you'll see there, I said new credentials to be added 2021 through 2020. I don't know, because some of these things are possibly 21, 22. Some might be 22, 23. Some might be 23, 24. It depends. Some of them are, for instance, some of it is based on our facilities. There's a whole lot of dominoes that fall, and it depends on the order on some of these things. An example of that would be some of the culinary things. In speaking with Rob Epps about this, one of the things that he talks about is well, okay, once we open up the new student resource center and everything, and then the folks move out of the A and B sections and move into there, then that's going to open that up, and then we're going to redo some of that stuff, and we're going to be able to expand culinary, which is going to allow us to do some other things. Now, some of it, though, for instance, Rob and I have talked about, I'm aware of a fermentation science degree or certificate or degree that's being done elsewhere, where the lab stuff is being done in breweries around, and then the didactic part of it is all being done online. And so that is something, for instance, that we are looking at. And by the way, this is not, butchery, though, is an example of where we need to be able to expand our facilities to be able to do that. And sorry, that was my idea of a joke. Butchery is part of culinary, not criminal justice. But anyway, thank you for leaving that in there, though, Shauna. I appreciate it. I didn't know if you'd take that out or not. But another thing that we've been talking about doing for a little while, and fortunately for me, Brett is on board with this, is it makes sense for us to be training athletic trainers. We have athletics. Athletics can serve as the lab for our students. I've actually done this at a college before. It was very successful. I liked it. But things like that, data science, who in the world at Southeast Community College could have possibly come up with the idea to do a data science credential? Maybe our fearless leader, I'm not sure, but I do think that was the origin of that, but we are looking into that. And the beauty of that is UNL just recently decided to put together a data science degree. And so I'm looking very closely at what we would need to do to piggyback on that, so our students could do a 2+2 or an A to B, associate to bachelor's, kind of an agreement with UNL. Cosmetology is one of those things we're looking at, logistics and mechatronics. And if I've got any of our other deans on here right now, they're probably looking at me going, but Joel, we talked about this in the last meeting that we had, and I told you I'm doing this and I'm doing that. For instance, I know I'm leaving a bunch of things that Jill Sand is planning on doing out of this. There really are, we could have another probably 2 slides of things that we're talking about doing. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, where does this all come from? Well, like I said, with data science, that's an idea that came from Dr. Dr. Illich. And what's interesting about that was he was talking to me about wanting to do something in data science before I ever even heard that UNL was doing this, which means he's either tied in with UNL, or he's really psychic, or he really likes data, or maybe all of the above. But where do we get these ideas? And the answer is we get them from all over the place. I just got done talking about how Jill Sand is planning on things over the next several years in different programs like occupational therapy. Well, how do we find those things out? Well, Jill has the opportunity, her program directors, her faculty, we have our students, we have the opportunity to be out in the industry and be talking to people all of the time. They contact us, they say, you know what, we really need this, we really need that. I was talking with Shauna just the other day, and she was saying, it seems like every time I talk to one of your deans, they're telling me about some meeting they had with someone in industry that was telling them, hey, we need this, we need that. I just had a meeting with our new dean that replaced Glenn Pasho, Caleb Herwick. I just had a meeting with him yesterday, and he was talking to me about a meeting that he had with the folks at Duncan Aviation, and the different types of things. I mean, not only aviation mechanics that we need to do, but they have some things, some other things that they need to do that they need people for, that have to do with, I think, cobots and automation and some of that, and some of the electrical stuff. So there's a lot of things going on there, and it's because our folks are wired into the community. Now, how do we wire into the community and to our industry partnerships? Well, there's some different ways. One that I didn't even list here is people like me, Rick Blesson, Dr. Illich, the campus directors, all of the different deans are involved in meetings with a bunch of industry partners all the time, talking about our new facilities. For instance, we are looking at building a new construction trades facility in Milford. We are obviously having a conversation with all of the people, the general contractors and the people, the subcontract people that are hiring all of these folks, hiring our students. We're having conversations with them all the time, talking with them about what they need in a building. But you can't talk about what you need in a building without talking about the programs and the instruction that goes in the building. So it's one of those things that we're having those conversations. Also, with COVID going away, we've got our WLTs, which have replaced the workforce leadership teams, which has replaced kind of the old advisory board that we had, where we actually invite people in and we sit them around the table and we facilitate a discussion that they have amongst themselves, our industry partners, and we basically are sitting back taking notes. We want to tell them, we want to share with them all the wonderful things that we're doing, but the WLTs really give us, it's an opportunity for us to open our ears and listen to what their needs are so that we can respond to them in providing them the employees and the type of trained employees that they need. I will tell you, the DACMs that we do, this is my first experience at a college with something like a DACM, and I absolutely love them. I think Rod Rhodes does a fantastic job with them, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. Because for those of you who may not be aware, and I'm sure you all are, but this is where we actually bring in our graduates who are out working in the field. We bring them back in and we talk to them about, okay, what was awesome that we taught you? What was really helpful? What were the things that maybe you didn't need as much? And then we get that feedback from all of these different jobs and everything. And the program directors and the deans and the associate deans, everybody, and me, we get to look at that in terms of shaping the curriculum, modifying the curriculum, making sure that it is not stuck in the past, but is moving towards in the future, and us, so that we can provide training and the appropriate education for our students who are going to be in the workforce in the future. And then, of course, our deans, associate deans, program chairs, and directors, everybody comes together and talks about the different. Everybody has ideas. Hey, I've been thinking this. Hey, I've been thinking that, and that those are also where we come up with ideas for that. Next slide. Okay, and then I would be remiss if I didn't mention how involved this process is. And after this, I'm going to be able to turn it over to Brett, who's going to talk to you a little bit about what our process is and where he's kind of involving himself. Like I said, after 6 whole weeks of being here and the things he's done already. But our program development partners are everybody from faculty to instructional administrators. Obviously, Brett is our VP of Program Development. IR plays an incredibly important role in this because they're the ones that provide us the data. Now, why do they need to provide us data? Well, because when we have a program, I mean, I can hear people out there say, we need this program and we need that program. But the truth is, we also need data, obviously, to indicate that there are jobs available and that over the next 10 years, how many jobs do we see opening up in our area, our service area, Nebraska? Where do we see this going to justify us, quite frankly, making the investment in what might be facilities and faculty and equipment and things like that to actually start a program? These things aren't cheap. And so what we need to do is we need to make sure that we've kind of got our ducks in a row and that the data supports that. And that's where IR comes in, and it's incredibly important. As our accreditation liaison, Shauna plays an absolute crucial role because all of this ends up getting sent. We send this to, we get it all together. We look at it all internally. The admin team looks at it. We do all of that. Then we get it on the agenda for our board of directors, and our board takes a look at it, and we talk to our board about it, and we say, hey, this is what we think, because it's actually part of our accreditation is that our board needs to approve all of our programs. And that's not just HLC. That's where I was in Texas and Kentucky and all of those places too. Your board has to have a very active part in knowing what's going on and approving all of this. And so the board does that. Then we send that off to CCPE. They have questions. We give them, we tell them what we're doing and everything. And then once, if and when they approve it, we then go through a process where we have to get that approved by HLC, and we have to answer a bunch of questions for HLC, and we go through that, and that is all very crucial. All of that takes time, as you might imagine. It takes time to get things all ready, go through all of that research, do all of the planning, talk to all of the industry partners and do that. So, you can take a year or more quite frankly, you can take a year or more to get to a place where you're even ready to put the paperwork together to then take it to the board and take it to CCPE and take it to HLC and all of that. And then that takes time for HLC to review it. And before I turn it over to Brett here, I want to say another really important aspect of this. As I just got done talking about how long this can take, this, quite frankly, also points to the importance of our continuing education and workforce training division. And the reason is that a lot of times what happens is we get into this and we have industry partners, and this is where the industry partnership thing is really important. What they do is they come to us and they say, look, I need people. And listen, they're not coming to us saying, I need people 6 months from now. I mean, when they come to us, typically it's, I need people now. And honestly, I needed them about 3 months ago, if not longer, right? And so, but we've got to go through all of this. Well, they understand all of this, and we can explain all of this and the process and how long it takes. But quite frankly, not their problem. That doesn't help them. Well, thank you for explaining it, but that doesn't help me get the worker that I need right now. And that's where continuing education and workforce training is just absolutely essential, because a lot of times we can be almost immediately responsive to them in a non-credit way. And it also gives us an opportunity, talk about data. One of the things our IR people can do is they can take a look and they can say, okay, wow, this is really something we need to do. I don't know if most of you know this, but our truck driving training, for instance, that program, that is a credit program. That did not start out as a credit program. That started out as a non-credit program. We have health science programs that started out as non-credit programs that are now credit programs. This kind of thing happens all the time. That's a function that that Amy Chesley and Marguerite Himmelberg and their team are all very happy to fill that role and that function for the college. And that partnership and that connection between the non-credit and the credit is exactly, we do it here. I was extremely gratified and happy when I got here last year to find out the wonderful, the connection between the non-credit and the credit at SCC, that it is as solid as it is, because that doesn't exist everywhere. And all that tells me is our community has been benefiting from that for years to come. So I'm pretty sure my 10 to 15 minutes is absolutely up, Shauna, as I knew I would use it all. And at this point, I will turn it over to my friend Brett, and he can tell you about some of the things he's doing.
Before I do let you go, Brett, one question, Dr. Michaelis. The strategic plan talks about apprenticeships, cooperative learning, hands-on experiences, real-time simulations. Could you gave some great examples of potential credentials that we're looking at. Could you also talk about some of the different modalities or opportunities to go through different pathways?
Absolutely. I get excited and I get talking, and then I sometimes I forget things. One of them that I don't know if people might remember this back in the slide where I talked about the new programs, or the new credentials, I should say, that we have done. One of them was an electrical certificate through IBEW. That is essentially an apprenticeship program. That is just a taste of things to come as we continue to pursue things like apprenticeships, and specifically what my hope in the future, and we're also going to be doing this through CE and workforce as well. But my hope is to also get us into registered apprenticeships, which is a very specific thing through the Department of Labor and all of that. But and there are some pretty good there are guidelines and blueprints to follow there that we can do with existing programs that we already have. And the idea behind that, and I want to be clear about this, because and I'm really glad you asked the question, Shauna, so thank you. Because that is yet another area of us, through industry partnerships, being able to meet the needs of local workforce in our service area. And the reason for that is not every student that we have can afford to be in school full time for 2 years and not be making an income. Not every one of our students can do this. We have a lot of students who can, and you know what? Our programs are filled with them. And when I say filled, I mean filled to the brim. We don't have room. It's one of the reasons, it's a very significant reason why we're doing all of this investment, why the college is making this incredible investment in new facilities, because we're trying to expand our programs and the opportunities that we have to reach more students. That said, there are other students that we can reach who maybe can't do the come to school all day for 2 years and all of that, and then go out and get a job. Registered apprenticeships are another way, another modality. I appreciate you using that word. Another modality, another way for them to learn on the job while they are earning a salary, and while they're earning money for them, for their families, and for their future. And so it is my belief, because I've seen this happen elsewhere, it is my belief that there is a place for both. We're not replacing anything, but there is a place for both. But obviously, the only way to make that work is through serious industry partnership. Because if those students are going to apprentice, if there's going to be an apprenticeship, it's got to be out in the workforce, right? And so whether it is in manufacturing or welding or auto tech or electrical or HVAC or whatever it is, We've got to be working with our industry partners, the folks who are hiring our students, to be able to create places for them to be able to do that. Did I answer that question?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for touching on that. I know
Absolutely.
that we shared with the college community last year as part of the community feedback and the 15 county tour that Dr. Illich did. That was one of the key themes that we heard almost in every county. There was a representative from the Department of Labor or industry partners saying, please offer additional apprenticeship programs. So thanks for sharing some of the planning work around that. All right, Brett, are you able to see the screen okay?
I can see it very well,
Okay.
thank you. First, I want to apologize for everyone who is going to be listening at this point, because we're going from, if you use the analogy of a cassette tape, from a fast forward to kind of a slow-mo, because I don't speak nearly as fast as Dr. Michaelis, or if you go back to his era, a record player with the different speeds, that you can turn and listen to a record, faster, slower. So this is the next part. We're talking about program development. Coming from an institution who's was also under HLC, and we did lots of things with our strategic plan. We had a process. We were able to develop new programs and things like that. But one of the issues that HLC had was the documentation of the progress that we were making. So this is where my background comes in making sure that whenever we're developing new programs, whether they're academic, they're certificates, they're new ideas for industry training and things of that nature, that we're going through a process in order to make sure we're checking all the boxes and making sure that we follow a process in which is more of a flow chart aspect of it. So we're not missing anything, and we're making sure that we are checking all the boxes as we go through. So, we start with the development process. Dr. Michaelis already talked about, where we get the ideas from the different entities throughout, our deans, our leaders, our campus administrators, from our students. Whenever any of our staff goes out to professional development opportunities, to conferences, they always say, hey, this college has this new program, and I think it'd be really great if we brought that back. That has a starting point, and we just have to have a flow process for that to go through. First is just the development of the idea, putting it through IR, making sure that we have no one else is doing the programs, that we don't saturate the area with the different aspects of a new program, making sure that there is a need for the program, that's a high wage, that we're giving back to the community of the resources that we're putting in, and making sure that that is within the strategic outline and our goals and vision for the institution. So as we look through program development, it starts with origination and new ideas. Then we have to identify that individual who will lead it through the different steps of the implementation, and how do we incorporate the program as as an academic degree, program, certificate, industry training, CTE, or something like that. So you can go to the next slide. As we continue through the process, we will look at how the new program will fall within the current structure. Do we already have an area in which that program will fill, or do we have to develop a new area? What are the expectations for the staff? How many students, student to teacher ratio, that sort of thing. The cost, as far as how much is the equipment for the new programs? What type of facility do we need? What type of instructors we would need for those type of programs? And then again, how does it tie to the educational mission of the college? So you can go to the next slide. So right now, Dr. Michaelis and myself have started a draft of a process in which we kind of go step by step from the origination of the idea through submitting for accreditation and implementation. So we're seeking feedback from other areas. I've met with the IR group, and they're kind of giving us that process, and it will flow through as we go through. This is one of those living documents that we'll have that will change as we come across things that we may need to update or correct in the way that we're flowing the new process through the new process. They'll have to be flexible enough for new academic programs, for new industry-driven initiatives. And this is the same type of process we'll go through as we design new activities and even the implementation of new athletic programs. So, next slide. You can go ahead and take over, Shauna.
All right. Thank you, Brett. That was really, really interesting. Thank you for your leadership in this area, for taking the lead on developing the process, working with a variety of partners across the college. I think that it's really, truly something to celebrate, that in the midst of a challenging year, in the first year of our 2020-2024 strategic plan, that we added 15 new credentials during that academic year. And again, some of those had been ideas coming along the way, but I know that's a strategic priority of Dr. Michaelis, and of course the new Vice President of Program Development, Brett, that we're just getting started in this area. And that is very exciting and really speaks to the collaboration among all different faculty. Joel had referenced earlier, recent meeting with Rob Epps, who is a rock star program director and has a number of ideas. Jill Sand, Jason Adams. I know that there are a variety of faculty and administrators and employees at the college who are very much dedicated to continuing to meet the industry needs. And we have this process in development to continue to streamline that.
And if I can throw in real quick, Shauna, I want to,
Certainly.
first of all, when we call out people like that, it's almost like thanking people when you win the Oscar. It's like, if you don't write it down, you're going to forget someone.
Yeah.
So I know there's people that are doing incredible work that we probably didn't mention, and I regret that, and I certainly don't mean to leave anyone out, except I can fix something right now, which is also talk about the incredible role that our campus directors play in the development of programs. Yes, they're running the campus and they're not necessarily over instruction and things like that, but their feedback on what we need to do, the facilities, the faculty that we have, all of that, their feedback on that. I know whenever we're talking about programs at any of the campuses, and of course the advantage with Brett is he is the campus director at Beatrice. But whenever we're talking about programs in Milford, I'm having a conversation with Ed. Whenever we're having a conversation about programs in Lincoln, I'm having a conversation with Bev. So their role in that is extremely important, and I would have been remiss if I didn't acknowledge that.
Thank you, Dr. Michaelis. Any before we transition to the next part of the celebration today, Dr. Michaelis, Brett, any parting words for SCC right now? All right, go ahead. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and I know the college community is excited to hear about some of the new initiatives happening as well. So thank you so much. This next portion of our Strategic Planning Week presentation today is recognizing an individual, department, or program for an outstanding planning process, participation in a planning process. We've gone through every day so far this week elements of SCC's strategic planning, mission action planning model. We use the fast goal model. We shifted from a SMART goal model to a fast goal model because fast goal model really more closely reflects our culture and the direction that the college has continued to go. As we discussed yesterday, one of the primary reasons SCC shifted from that SMART goal model to the FAST goal model was because SMART goals focus on setting attainable and realistic goals, which ultimately stifles innovation and creativity. And the nature of setting an ambitious goal, which we're presenting another ambitious goal today, is that it inherently runs the risk of failure. And sometimes, as we all know, the more ambitious the goal, the greater the risk of failure. We heard about the English department yesterday, who attempted an ambitious goal and absolutely knocked it out of the park. They set their milestones, promoted collaboration, and incorporated what they had learned into their curriculum, truly closing the loop in their lessons learned. Today, and each year as we celebrate Strategic Planning Week from here on out, we are going to recognize an individual, department, or program that attempted an ambitious goal but failed. This year's inaugural FAST Goal Award is presented to our president, Dr. Paul Illich, for pursuing the most ambitious ask of our 15-county service area in the college's history for a $369 million bond, and for failing at that attempt. And here's why recognizing setting ambitious goals and failing to attain them is important. Because Dr. Illich, the board, and SCC did not give up. Alternate plans were immediately put into place to continue to pursue the ultimate goal of modernizing our facilities to address the community's workforce needs. The needs still existed, but the strategy shifted. And we all heard yesterday those innovative and creative funding strategies the college has pursued to address that existing need. This is the ultimate lesson to each one of us as we are striving to improve in each of our divisions, departments, or programs. And this is what we ask of our resilient students every day as they navigate challenging courses and difficult life circumstances in pursuit of a better future. As an institution, we want to lead by example and not let failure stop us from pursuing our goals. It is absolutely essential to SCC's future that we continue to develop innovative and ambitious goals and pursue them with focus and confidence, because failure is an opportunity. So next year, we eagerly await recognizing other college employees, programs, and departments who attempted and failed to complete a big, ambitious goal that was difficult, almost impossible to achieve. Thank you, Dr. Illich, for setting a very ambitious goal. Thank you for failing at attaining that goal and for demonstrating to the college and greater community that SCC leverages failure as opportunity. The next portion of our presentation today, just wanted to do a quick reminder that there's still time to complete in the IR scavenger hunt. There's a number of folks who have participated so far, and I did want to just recognize and remember or acknowledge that we're giving out participation trophies here. If you attempted the scavenger hunt and did not get 100% at it, you're still going to be entered into the drawing. We really, again, part of our vision, SCC utilizing valid and dynamic data to respond to local and statewide needs to strengthen the college's diverse communities and economies. We have a number of incredible IR tools that wanted to continue to orient you to get comfortable using, and please don't hesitate to reach out to the fantastic IR team for additional assistance there. Looking ahead, tomorrow, Thursday, October 14th, we'll have a virtual celebration at noon featuring Bev Cummins and Ed Coster. Again, watch your email for additional for the next Strategic Planning Week Challenge and continued celebration throughout the week. Thank you for attending, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.